Hello everybody, my name is the Local Villain and welcome back to the MU Dive. If you don't know what the MU Dive is, it's me tackling this giant ass list in no particular order except for the wheel. I'm in a new location. I'm quite literally just standing next to a wall in my room, so thought I'd change it up from the desk area because I feel I'm a lot more talkative and exciting when I'm standing up, which I am standing up. That's me jumping. You just saw my titties flap there. I am wearing a tank top like a fucking douchebag because I just got back from the gym. But, you know, it's kind of the tradition at this point that I am either hopped up on pre-workout or I just got back from the gym or whatever. But it kind of makes sense to feel like a douchebag because today we're covering a metal album. Stronghold by Summoning, an album I knew fucking nothing about until listening to it, and man, do I have a lot to say. So let's get right into this. Usually I know some decent amount about an album, usually in its history or where it came from, the era it derived from, all of that, right? But I knew absolutely nothing about this record, so I did a tiny bit of research and I was kind of surprised by what I found out. But most of that surprise will come in the lyric section. But for now, we're going to be talking about the sonics first. So let's do that. So the instrumentation of this record is really unique for its time. This album came out in 1999, which I know it's kind of a current trend to make your music sound old on purpose, so I kind of thought this was like a mid-2010s record, and then I saw it was from 1999, which even then it still sounds like it's trying to sound old at times. Let's get on to kind of the meat on why I think it's like that. A good portion of the beginning half of this album sounds like 8-bit Doom music, if you know anything about like video games and like how that 8-bit kind of like that. It sounds very crunchy. It's super synth heavy, but it purposely sounds dated. It kind of threw me off a little bit at first, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea, kind of that like old retro-y sounding video game music. It's not my jam. Not at all. There's strings on this record that convey both dread and hope, but never both at the same time. And personally, I don't know if it's just synths that sound like strings or if they are truly strings. But hearing just how synth heavy this record is and kind of more industrial in a very, very tiny way, I would be not so surprised if everything was a synth, even the fucking drums. Joking, obviously. I specifically wrote down on my first listen that it sounds like soaring death metal if it was shoved into an Atari game. It feels like a video game soundtrack sometimes, and once again, don't know if that's what they're going for. The vocals are these haunting screeches and chants that sound like Megadeth and Iron Maiden were just mixed together and had a baby, but it takes a while for the vocals to find their own place in the record. At first, they seem kind of like a guest star, and it seems the music, the instrumentation is the forefront of the whole project, but kind of midway through, the vocals take complete control of the entire record. There is one moment in the record where they throw you a complete curveball, and that is on the song where Hope and Daylight dies. Apparently, this is the singer's girlfriend who guest starred on the record, and it's these beautifully angelic vocals backed with the continuing kind of soaring rock opera that's happening in the background. And personally, this is my favorite part of the record. This complete curveball that never comes back again. She only appears on this song and never comes back. And it is a genuine surprise when you're kind of used to the consistency of the record kind of building up on each song. And then all of a sudden, there's this beautiful just angel that comes in out of nowhere to almost like save you for a bit and then drop you back down into the pits of hell that this record contains. And speaking of soaring rock operas, the riffs do not disappoint in the slightest. They just kick absolute ass, just like these mini chugs and long string drags that absolutely kind of just go, whoa, okay, this band knows what the fuck they're doing. The best song, in my opinion, to kind of display the riff power is Like Some Snow White Marble Eyes. That's a mouthful and a tongue twister. Towards the end of the record, I made a extremely gross conclusion and comparison, is that this sounds like RuneScape music. The kind of medieval synths towards the end of the record sound like RuneScape music. And if you don't know what RuneScape music is, I'm going to play a brief clip right now. you're probably not going to be able to unhear it. So now on to the lyric portion of this review, and usually metal is a bunch of nonsensical badass bullshit. You know, just shit people say to sound fucking tough as hell on a record. But this is where the fun fact I learned from doing some research. Almost every single lyric is a Tolkien reference. Lord of the motherfucking Rings. These guys are huge mega nerds that are making video game infused RuneScape, which actually was out at the time, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of a coincidence there, but I'm going to try not to let my bias. So a lot of the times when I'm sitting at the desk, you guys will see this tattoo, right? Berserk, whatever. But most of the time you guys don't see this tattoo. I am also a huge Lord of the Rings fucking fan. So when I found this out, I was just salivating, and I re-listened to the record, and that nonsensical lyrical badass bullshit sounds even fucking cooler. It sounds even fucking cooler when you realize that they're speaking Elvish. That's fucking dope. I'm gonna calm down. I'm getting way too excited. All for me to disappoint you all by saying I'm not gonna let that bias sway me too much. It is very cool that most of the lyrics on this record are just spoken in Elvish. So, once again, I'm not gonna let my bias get in the way too much there. But going back to my previous point on whether if I knew if it was all video game inspired or not, I think it is. I think this whole record is just a bunch of fucking nerds who love like fantasy and video games and all of that shit and just made a really cool rock opera. It's really impressive. It's a really impressive record. I think you need about like maybe 2 or 3 listens to kind of get the gist of it, because at first it's really jarring. I mean, when the synths kind of stand alone, you're like, ugh, that doesn't sound the best. But I can kind of get the inspiration now. So I'll give them a little bit of leeway. But now for the fateful review, the score that you all are waiting for. I'm going to give it a 7. Solid 7. I know I really want to give it an 8 because of all the Tolkien and the video game inspiration and all of that, whether it was intentional or not. I know the Tolkien stuff was, but the video game stuff is up for debate. I'm sure somebody in the comments who fucking listens to this record all day is going to be like, it's actually based on Quake. Fuck you, dude, in the comments. I think it's a pretty solid number to give it a 7. It's okay at best, and the riffs are really inviting, and the curveball with the vocalists in the middle of the record is a genuine surprise, but honestly, it's sad that the surprise is the best part of the record. So yeah, I think a 7 is pretty fair, but now for the wheel. Let's turn this camera around and go back to the desk. So, welcome to a different point of view where we're going to spin the wheel and find out what is next on this gargantuan fucking list. Take a quick look. Now it's fucking gone. Let's spin the wheel. So close to core, but we are doing the subcategory. I was gonna make the same Dom joke, but I don't think people laughed at it the first time. But to the sub wheel we go. So here's the sub wheel. It is the second largest wheel, having a lot, but the largest wheel will be the classics, which I haven't even scratched yet. I mean, it's only the fucking second review in the series, but either way, enough wasting time. Let's find out what record we're gonna get. Boom, there goes that list to the wheel. B7, let's find out what B7 is. Oh my fucking god. Weezer's Blue Album. Holy shit, we're covering Weezer on this channel. I am so excited. I have so many fucking opinions about this goddamn album. I'm tripping over my words. That's how fucking excited I am. Not out of, like, you'll find out. Tune in next time when we review Weezer's Blue Album. Hope you guys are enjoying this series and my channel. Feel free to like, subscribe, whatever. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good day. Peace.